Hello everyone, Shinto Bean here playing some more Warhammer combat cards. This week, starting with the first campaign of the week, you may have noticed something a little bit different with the way victory points are calculated, and that is because they are testing out a new system for scoring in campaigns. And you can see you're getting a lot more victory points than before. In the past, you simply got victory points based on the level of the campaign, so the further you go, the more victory points you can get. If you lose a match, you get 0 victory points and get knocked back 2 levels. So then the next enemy you face would be a slightly weaker one, but you'd get fewer victory points. And that was how victory points are calculated. But now there are 4 different factors which are taken into account when calculating victory points, and the developers introduced those changes on a developer blog which listed the criteria but did not go into any detail as to the specifics of, how many points you're getting from which thing. And so that just raised a lot of questions. A lot of them are still unanswered. One thing is clear, though. If you look at the top positions, we're only 12 hours into this campaign, but you can see here at number 1, first place is Codex Creep. If you've been playing the game for a while, you would recognize the game as a player who probably has the highest level cards of any player in the game, and it has been that way for a long time. And he is very clearly in the top position simply because his cards have a lot more wounds, and they deal a lot more damage. So basically, if your cards are at a high level, you don't actually have to put in as much effort as lower ranking players in order to achieve victory points. And indeed, it is impossible to score as high if your cards are not at a high enough level. Now, I still have 2 energy remaining, so I want to test a few things out here. So the first match I'll be playing is with this deck with Logan Grimnar. I am curious about his special rule. Like, it's the excess damage which is generated from his Savage Fury. Does that get calculated in or not? I have no idea. But you can see from the bodyguard composition I've had here, I've chosen a few bodyguards which have just a lot higher starting wounds, which I guess will just give me more victory points. So that all of a sudden becomes a very important factor when building your deck. Also, traits like Shield, which can block damage, will essentially just give you more victory points because the less damage you take, the more victory points you'll get. And of course, the amount of damage you deal is one of the most important factors. So you want guys that can deal a lot of damage. Big game hunters can potentially deal quite a bit more as well, depending on the target. And one thing that we just don't know also is like healing traits, like Medicae. If I were to deploy this, that would give some of my cards higher wounds than they started with. So would that just automatically give me more victory points? Don't know about that either. But we'll just play a match here. This is still quite early in the campaign, only level 7, but we'll see how many victory points I can get with this composition. The other thing, of course, is the number of enemy bodyguards you're able to destroy in the battle, not counting like termagants and stuff. That gives you more points. So far, in my case, the least points I've gotten is like about 1,600, and the most points I got was a little over 3,000. And the 3,000 point match was when I had some big game hunters hitting targets that were 40 or more points, so I was dealing a lot more damage than normal. So here we do have some big game on the field. We got the new Psychophage, so we will want to put a big game hunter across from that. We do have the initiative, so we'll be able to get the ball rolling here, swinging for quite a bit of damage. We've got our shields, which will prevent a lot of the damage from the enemy. And we'll see what... okay, perfect. We can just use Corsair Khan, Big Game Hunter, and Target Acquired on the Psychophage. So we're going to just deal a whole lot of damage there. And they're targeting Torgaradon, but he's got 2 shields, so he's going to be just fine. And yeah, we'll start off here. I think Corsair Khan's just going to kill the thing in one hit. Now we'll see how much extra damage we can do from the cleave. Okay, so then this is also going to do a lot of damage, and it's going to completely kill the Zoanthrope. So Belial did not even get a chance to attack. He would have done 65 damage, so I'm just wondering, does that also get calculated into the score or not, because it didn't actually hit anything? Yeah, we don't know. Now the enemy Warlord is deploying to the field, Gosar alongside with his cousin, the Broodlord. They're going to use Psychic, but they're not going to be able to deal any damage thanks to the shields. So we'll be able to win on this next turn with the melee attack. Now, one other thing, one huge exploit that players have found is that if you can get the AI into a ready loop, where they're just readying every turn, and you are as well, you can charge up a massive attack. And when you save that up to the end, you can deal like thousands of damage and get a huge amount of victory points that way. which is kind of ridiculous. Here we got 3,000, which is quite good. So that's more than I've gotten from some of the other matches. It is clear that the amount of damage you deal does play a pretty big role, but if it is indeed true that you can just charge up an attack indefinitely and then get a whole bunch of victory points for dealing like thousands of damage in one turn, that style of play should not be encouraged, and it makes no sense either. Like, why should that give you a higher score? So that is one thing they definitely have to address. Also, I forgot to mention the modifier for this campaign. We have battle scars, so if any card dies in battle, you will no longer be able to use it for the rest of the campaign, which is why I'm about to do something that you should never do, and we're going to try, just for the sake of science, I'm going to be using Grandmaster Voldus. He's kind of not the greatest option here, and just filled it with a bunch of bodyguards that I don't care about. We still have a decent amount of starting wounds here, but yeah, no synergy with the Warlord whatsoever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play a match, and I'm going to try to actually kill a bunch of things, but right before we win, I will forfeit the match, which in the case of Battle Scars means I will lose all of these cards. I'll no longer be able to use any of them, but I'm just curious how many victory points I will still get from this battle, because, you know, I'm still dealing damage and whatnot. Now, since when you forfeit, everything dies, I wonder, will that count as 0 wounds remaining in your deck at the end? Or not? I have no clue. So, yeah. I don't think any other player has tried this so far. So, we'll just experiment here and see what happens. Okay, we're up against the Jackal Alphas with 5 bodyguards. So, again, we do want to try to kill a few of these bodyguards, which should not be very difficult. Got a new Salamander's Terminator. This is the reward for this campaign. As if we didn't have enough Space Marines already. We'll throw... Sure, why not? We'll just throw this Psyker down. And, I mean, we do want some damage dealers here, so... Yeah, not the greatest cards. Okay, sure. We'll go like this. Just try to kill some of the weaker bodyguards, I think. Alright. We do have to make sure that we lose, though. Otherwise, this whole thing is for nothing. Alright, so we do get... oh, no, they get the first turn. So they'll start off with a Psychic Attack. They're charging up melee. And we'll deal some damage to the Zoanthrope. Yeah, a lot of these bodyguards I've included in here are just really terrible cards. I like this Librarian, who actually got a change to his stats recently, but it's 1 kill so far. And they'll have 2 more bodyguards deploying. We're not dealing very much damage either. Certainly not able to deal too much excess damage, not as much as the Logan deck before, so we'll see how big of a role that plays. Here we did deal some excess damage to this Neurothrope. 1 more bodyguard. I think we'll just continue going melee here. And then I guess once the Warlord deploys, maybe we'll give it another round or 2, but then we'll forfeit and see how many victory points we get. Yeah, lots of new Tyranids coming out, though. And just with the recent releases, I'm really excited to see those enter the game, hopefully in the near future. And I am hoping that they provide some of them for free as campaign rewards. Don't really want most of the Tyranid collection being just pay to win. Alright, I think we'll give it... what do we have here? Man, these guys just do no damage. It's terrible. Sure, we'll go with this guy. Maybe hit him with a ranged attack. Yeah. 130 damage. Okay, hopefully... Yeah, AI should not be committing suicide here, so we'll see what attack type they go for. And then we'll just call it quits there. Dead shot on the center dude. Sure, we'll just drop this guy. Put some healing down. Alright, so yeah, that was about 75 to 80 healing total right there. So, again, curious if that factors into, you know, how many the victory points you receive at the end. But here, we'll go ahead and we'll forfeit, surrender. So everything just dies. And we'll see, let's see how many victory points we get. 620. Okay. So yeah, that was not very good. But again, we don't know, like, how many of those, where those points actually came from. So obviously some of it was from damage. Some of it was from destroying enemy bodyguards. I guess some of it was also from the difficulty level, but as for wounds remaining, yeah. And I don't know, do you also get Like, do you just get a set number of points for winning the match as well, based on the difficulty level? Or if you lose, is it 0? I don't know. Just a bunch of unanswered questions. But obviously, you do want to win, and you don't want to, lose your bodyguard. So we can't actually look at the collection because I don't have any available campaign energy. But yeah, you can see my score here is 18,000. Could have gotten a lot more that match if I'd actually won. Oh, and it knocked me back a level. You can see that. So that last match was against a level 7 opponent. Now we're down to level 6. So I guess I will be getting less victory points also because I lost that match. I still think that like these campaigns that are with rewards based on your position have always been skewed to heavily favor those with higher level cards, but also they favor people in certain time zones because campaigns start at a certain time each day and also end at the same time. So some people are just not awake during those hours. And in the case that it's a short campaign where a lot of people are getting the same number of victory points in the end, it's just whoever got those matches in first gets the better rewards, which is an unfair system. So, I mean, it's good that they're experimenting with something new here and, trying to change the whole fast fingers winning situation, but I feel like there are a lot of other ways, just very simple ways that they could do that to make things more fair. Simply like doing what they do with explorations, which is everyone gets the same rewards for, winning the certain number of battles. And that system is pretty fair, I think. And I don't see why it can't be applied to most campaigns. But I do get that, some people really like the competition, the competitive aspect, and there are people who put a lot of effort into trying to beat everyone else, so I guess those players maybe enjoy the current system. But let me know what you think about the whole scoring system for campaigns, if you've been okay with the way things are, and what you think about these new changes. Do you think that they should continue along this path? Are there any other flaws with this new system? Again, this is only a temporary thing, just for a couple weeks, I believe, before they decide, what to do going forward. So I'm interested to hear your feedback. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.